Hi everybody, Kaiwaza with you, and it's time for another cavalcade of Hawaiian records. And this time we're on the letter F, and we are going to be going through my records in the South Pacific and the Exotica category that fall under the artist beginning with the letter F. So, let's check out some vinyl. Okay, and first a bit of an update on some things that I have gotten on letters that we would have already covered. This one, a South Pacific record called Tamure from Les Kaveka and their Tahitian Rhythms. Kind of excited to get this because they're kind of expensive when you see a Les Kaveka record. Apparently they were, I don't really know much about them, but apparently they were kind of popular in France and created this sort of Tamure song rage. You will see in the early 60s on some French popular music records some Tamure songs that just got to be sort of a thing in France for a while, and these guys were apparently part of that happening. This is an English pressing, though, of the original French record, Golden Guinea, but it was originally a French record. 1963 is the year. And it's interesting. I mean, I have a lot of Tahitian music, but these guys actually do remarkably quite different arrangements of some of these songs. I don't know exactly how I would describe it, except to say it's very loose, and their rhythm and their syncopation is quite different than how some of these songs are usually performed. So it was kind of an interesting album to get, and I do like it. The next one I got recently, we've already covered the letter B. This is Blue Pow. I have one other record from him that's from the Fireside, which was a restaurant floor show somewhere, Hawaiian restaurant floor show. This is another floor show that he did in Pittsburgh, John Malo's Hawaii. Very uninspiring cover for real, right? And then the back has some pictures from the show itself. And this was put on recorded live at the Best Western Conley Inn, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as part of their Hawaii floor show. In 1981, this was recorded. And it has Hawaiian songs, and it has some non-Hawaiian songs, but mostly Hawaiian stuff. Let me see. Next up, as an update, or actually not an update, this one's an update. Okay, this one, I gotta talk about this one for a second. I just got this one at a collector's expo just like 2 weekends ago or less. I actually passed it by. You know, when I go to the collector shows, the first thing I do is look for records. So I run through the entire exhibition hall really quickly, only stopping any place that has records, and I look at the records first. And then I'll go back and look at everything else. And this one I actually saw and just passed by, thinking, oh, it's some Japanese thing, because I looked at the back and it was Japanese, and I just, whatever. It wasn't until I went back later, because she was selling, all the records were only like $2 or $3, and I looked at it more closely, and I'm like, wait a minute. Like half of the songs, this is a 2-record set, and half of the songs are Hawaiian songs. And then a quarter are Latin American songs, and a quarter are Japanese songs. And I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. So I opened it up to see, who it was by and what the deal was. It's a 1972 RCA Japanese release, but it says Tadao Sawai with Kazue Sawai and orchestra. Koto, and I saw Koto, and that's on all the records, and I thought, wait a minute. So this is somebody playing the Japanese Koto with an orchestra, and then one of the full album is Hawaiian songs, as I said on this. So I had to get it, and I have to tell you, this album is amazing. I'm so glad I got it. And I got it for like $2. It's beautiful. It's Hawaiian songs, Japanese koto with Hawaiian steel guitar and a full-on orchestra, and the arrangements are absolutely beautiful and lovely, very interesting. I'll definitely put some things up on Hawaiian Leisure Hour from this album, so check that out. And then finally, well, not finally, we're moving into The letter F now, we go into Exotica. Let's see, first up actually will be Percy Faith, Shangri-La, Columbia Records. Of course, you're probably familiar with Percy Faith Orchestra, easy listening orchestra, and these are all Exotica type of songs, either Asian or Pacific oriented, Kashmiri song, Return to Paradise, March of the Siamese Children, etc. There was a follow-up record here, Exotic Strings, which I used to have. I don't know what I did with it. Did I just get rid of it or something? Because I remember it was mostly just Latin songs, and maybe I just felt like I didn't need it, but I should pick that up again if I see it really cheap. This one's in beautiful condition. Next up, the famous piano duo of Ferrante and Tichenor, or Teicher or something, and their orchestra with Nick Perito. This is Pianos in Paradise. Now, this exact album was given to me by my aunt many years ago when I was a kid. I sort of coveted it, and she just gave it to me. It's mono, and I need to have it replaced. It's not in great condition, and I just never have because I'm not super excited about the record, but it is nice. I mean, it's a nice record. I don't know if you've ever seen, and it has some, it's Exotica songs, right? I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's another record that has the same woman on the cover, but in a slightly different position. I can't remember the name. I think it's called Passion Flower by Pepe and the Rarotongans, and it's her, but she doesn't have the fern thing here. I think she's holding a flower or something. You can see her face. I also have another record with what I believe is the same woman on it. This is actually a German record, South Sea Pearls. And I think this is the same woman. If you'll notice the hair, the part and the little bit of a bun, and the part and a little bit of a bun, just in a different, same place. I think that she's probably just, in this picture, she's probably like sitting over in these bushes over here. Anyway, then we have Ferrante and Tichenor again, Exotic Love Themes. Basically sort of Oriental themes from films and classical pieces and whatnot. Yeah. Now, Exotica. This is really a weird one here. I'm going to take a minute and talk about this, and then it's Gatefold. It is a French record called Itineraires of Escape the Pacifique, by S. Franklin and Claude Desjacques. And as you can see from the back here, it's sort of a travel itinerary. It's songs from Hawaii, Tahiti, New Caledonia, and then they go around the other end of the Pacific Islands, New Guinea, some of the Indonesian islands, and Philippines. And then all these songs. Now, the Hawaiian and the Tahitian songs are sort of straightforward ones, like steel guitar and Tahitian drumming and whatnot. But once they get into the other islands, it seems like I would definitely call it Exotica, like their own compositions with sort of strange LSD-like psychedelic arrangements. I don't know. It's a very odd record. I don't exactly know what to make of it, but definitely something exotic and different. Here's a record I really like. Pagan Festival, Exotic Love Ritual for Orchestra, Dominic Frontiere and his orchestra. And this is supposed to be, according to the back, the basic theme of Pagan Festival is exotic in its interpretation of an ancient Inca ritual, superstitions, and the romance and mysteries of their colorful civilization. It does to me not sound at all just particularly Inca or Indian. It's very much like a Les Baxter album, any sort of the exotic orchestral Les Baxter albums. This very much falls in with the vein of, and I really like it. There's some cuts on this that I really like. I really recommend this album if you come across it anywhere. Pagan Festival, Exotic Love Ritual for Orchestra, Dominic Frontiere. Very lush with some nice percussion. Up next we have a really strange recording. nothing Hawaiian about it or whatever. Very exotic though. Symphony of the Birds. Johan Dalgas Frisch on MGM Records. And this one is, boy, how do you describe this? It's orchestral music, some of it organ, some of it orchestral. And to it are the accompaniments of literally bird calls. But it's not just like random bird calls, like you would have an Exotica, like just bird calls over the music or whatever to give it atmosphere. This album, the particular birds are chosen and the particular arrangement of calls is set up to actually augment or complement or go in harmony with the symphonic orchestra or organ or whichever is playing, to go with those arrangements, right? You follow? So it's a very strange recording. I can't imagine just listening to it and being like, oh, this is lovely. I mean, I would think like, this is so bizarre. How did this ever get recorded? Okay, and I know this is kind of a long video, but I'm just going to go ahead and do the South Pacific records because we only have 3 and I only need to really talk about 1, and then we can wrap up the traditional letter F. So in the South Pacific category, I just have 3 albums, the first of which is Anu Anu. Very pretty cover. This actually was one of the very first Tahitian albums I ever got when I moved to Hawaii in 1981, and I got it at a used record store, and because I thought the cover was really pretty and it was inexpensive, and I was totally broke back in those days. This is selections by Filo, Emile with Esther, Diana Abraham, and the Tiare Tahiti combo. And it's still to this day is one of my favorite Tahitian albums because it has beautiful arrangements. It's mostly female vocal group, really, really pretty arrangements. There's nice Hawaiian guitar. There's nice kind of French accordion, French Tahitian accordion going on. Really a nice album, and I like it a lot. Nice label there too, Tiare Tahiti Records. And then finally, I just have a couple of albums. One called Fiji. This is on Salem Records. I think 70 is the date on this, right? Yeah, 1970, by various groups, including the Methodist Church Choir. And then finally, visually a pretty album, Fiji, Isolé, Enchanting Music of the South Pacific. This is part of Capitol Records, Capital of the World, where they did a series of different countries all over the world. This one on Fiji, but you tell me, my friends, what is wrong with this picture? Something is very wrong here. Not that anybody would care on the mainland or whatever, but this picture is not Fiji at all. It's the Society Islands, French Polynesia, Tahiti, I think Bora Bora, I think this is, or Moorea, I'm not sure. But it's one of the islands off of out of Tahiti. I have this on several, this is a very photogenic spot, and I have seen many postcards, and I have some other record albums of these exact people in this setting, but different, photos and different configurations. There's a couple of other people too, different shots, but it's all this same exact location and same day, same shot. But this is Tahiti, it's not Fiji. But it's a nice album, and there's a couple of interesting steel guitar instrumentals on here actually that I quite like. So that's it for the letter F. Let us listen to some needle drops. hope you enjoyed those needle drops, and please leave some comments below if you have any interest in any of these, or comments or thoughts or whatever. Also, if you would like to hear selections from these albums, full selections, and more albums, please subscribe to my other channel called Hawaiian Leisure Hour. I will put the link below so you can find that. And also, normally that would be it for the letter F, but we're going to do kind of a special thing on the next one. I've thought there's quite a bit of interest in the particular record labels sometimes, and one record label that I have a lot of interest in is called 49th State Hawaii. And so on the next video, and maybe it will take 2 videos, I don't know, since it starts with the letter F, 49th, I decided I'm going to show all the records that I have on the 49th State record label, because they're really pretty to look at, those records, both the labels and the album covers. So next time we do 49th State Hawaii Record Company label records. Next time on the cavalcade of Hawaiian records.